market is large and complex with a language of its own, and various sub-markets including the spot market in which the generators and retailers operate, the retail market in which retailers supply customers, and the hedge market for the trading of electricity hedges and derivatives. In this video, we focus on the market segment that serves large electricity consumers. On one side are large consumers, and on the other side are the major electricity retailers who are able and willing to contract in large volumes. The retailers in this segment are large companies and all have substantial generation assets, so they are stable and established players. Every site that is supplied with electricity has a unique ICP number, where ICP stands for Installation Control Point. It is the notional point at which ownership of electricity changes from your retailer to you. For example, a farm might have one ICP for the milking shed and one ICP for the homestead. Each of these ICPs is treated as a separate electricity installation with its own electricity meter and pricing plan. The ICP for a small building could be at the fuse on the power pole where the cables to the house attach. On larger facilities, the ICP could be at a transformer or at a meter, for example. The industry has a database of ICPs which facilitates switching of retailers when a consumer decides to make the switch. Every ICP must have a meter associated with it. The meter records the amount of electricity consumed during a period in kilowatt hours. It may also record other data such as the electricity peak loading. Some ICPs don't have meters. Streetlights are a good example. So the industry has a special protocol for calculating the consumption of streetlights. It is the retailer supplying the ICP that must provide the meter, although they often contract the meter provision to a metering equipment provider. ICPs with maximum load over a certain amount must have metering which records kilowatt hours by half hour. We call this half-hourly metering, or time of use, TOU metering, or HHR metering. These ICPs will be priced based on time of use pricing plans in which energy and line charges are shown separately on invoices from retailers. Smaller ICPs may have time of use metering. You've probably heard of smart meters, but they may also have non-half-hourly metering, also known as NHH or non-time of use. These sites are typically on NHH pricing plans in which the line charges are often bundled in with the retailer's energy charges. So it can be hard to tell what is a pure energy charge and what is a pure line charge. Speaking of which, the line charge is the charge made by the local lines company. The retailer contracts with the lines company to get electricity from the national grid to your ICP across the local lines and pays the lines company line charges, which they pass through to you. ELEX currently deals only with fixed price variable volume contracts, FPVV. FPVV contracts are for physical supply of electricity by a retailer, where ownership of electricity passes from the retailer to you at a site's ICP. An FPVV contract specifies fixed prices, as opposed to spot prices, which are highly variable, for any volume of kilowatt hours consumed. For example, your FPVV contract might have a fixed daily charge, a night rate of 15 cents per kilowatt hour, and a day rate of 25 cents per kilowatt hour. We tend to define a large electricity consumer as having total annual consumption of 500,000 kilowatt hours or more, or a larger number of ICPs, which could be a mix of time of use and non-time of use, for example. The vast majority of large consumers are on fixed price variable volume contracts. The market segment for large consumers typically works on non-standard pricing, so FPVV prices in this segment tend to respond quicker to changes in the market. For example, if the market moves into an oversupply of generation, then FPVV prices for large consumers tend to respond faster than prices for smaller consumers who are on standard pricing plans. EnergyLink calculates an index of the energy component of the very largest FPVV contracts. That's over about 9 million kilowatt hours per annum. And you can see how the index moves around. but it fell sharply in 2012 due to stalling of demand growth combined with new generating plant coming online. Best practice for consumers in this market segment is to approach the market by issuing a request for proposal, RFP, for supply to all retailers serving the segment. The RFP includes details of all the ICPs you want supplied and the terms and conditions of the RFP. Retailers analyse your data and respond with pricing offers. You can end up with many pricing offers, often more than one from some retailers, which you need to analyse carefully. This can be a demanding and complex task when you do it manually and may require extensive use of large spreadsheets. Finally, you choose your pricing offer and retailers and make the switch to either new pricing plans with the same retailers or to new retailers. This is best practice, but many consumers fall short of this. Perhaps they don't approach all retailers, or they leave their approach to retailers to the last minute and have to accept whatever pricing they get. Or perhaps they don't have the time or skill to fully and correctly analyse the pricing offers they do receive. Large electricity consumers typically want contracts for supply with terms of between 1 and 3 years, during which they have certainty over price. But bear in mind that retailers cannot fix line charges. So while time of use energy charges may be fixed by a retailer, the same may not apply to non-time of use energy charges because these charges may be bundled up with line charges.